and wanted to ask you, as a self-made man, as a Jewish American, as an academic and a scholar and a professional, what, in your views, are some of the strategies of success that the Jewish community has used to benefit themselves and their families and their communities, and that you yourself have possibly used? And what are some of these advices and strategies that everyone can learn about and replicate to improve their own personal and professional lives?
Sure. Well, first, I understand from your perspective the self-made man comment, but I look at everything that's come in my life as God's grace and God's mercy and God's help. So I always start there. And I do believe that God did raise up the Jewish people to be a light to the world and to be world changers. And when we get it right, it's incredible and powerful. When we get it wrong, it's very negative. And that's what anti-Semites can sometimes seize on. But from a purely secular, natural viewpoint, there's been a great emphasis on education in Jewish circles and Jewish homes. So just the ethic of hard work and study and the importance of solid education, that's been foundational, and that's a big linchpin. Another thing is that Jewish families have had a strong unity or a strong sense of togetherness. Now, obviously, every family is different, and my family, I was in rebellion against my parents as a teenager and all that. But family is also important in Judaism and in Jewish tradition, and that also is a cohesive and strengthening thing. Another aspect is the positivity in anything's possible. When you've had to scrape and claw, if people have ever seen Fiddler on the Roof, that's some of the poverty Jews have lived with through the years. Many times they couldn't work jobs that others worked. That's how they got into banking, because they were allowed to lend money. So when you've had to be creative, when you've had to swim against the tide, when you've had the world against you, it can create something in you of kind of anything is possible and we can overcome, and numbers and status are not the issue. And there was a funny story I heard from a professor of sociology who was an Italian American. He said, my home where I grew up, and, you ask the parents, hey, what's with your son, Tony? He goes, he's a bum. He's always going to be a bum. And what about Silvio? He's going to be good for nothing. That kid, I tell you. And then they said, someone would ask his Jewish friends, the parents, oh, that's your son, David. He's 4. Yes, he's going to be a lawyer. And what about Irving? He's 6. Oh, yes, he's going to be a doctor. So sometimes there's just more of that positivity and expectation. And I think those things go a long way.